Hello, Ken. This is my Michigan pregame video, but since Michigan is on a bye week, I figured I'd take this opportunity to touch on the what I feel is the hottest topic right now for the Michigan Wolverine football team, and that is the quarterback situation. I wanted to expand a little bit on some of the things I mentioned in my postgame video, and just get some ideas and thoughts out there and see what everybody thinks. Before I get into it, though, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell down below. I do greatly appreciate you. The quarterback situation. I don't feel like there's really a clear-cut, solid answer here, and that's why a lot of people are talking about it. That's why there's a discussion around the quarterback position for Michigan right now. I'm gonna lay out what each person brings to the team and why who I feel like is the best decision moving forward at this point. Cade Mcnamara is a solid, steady hand. He's a good leader. He has gotten Michigan to this point, which is undefeated so far. And really, he hasn't done anything wrong, and that's what makes this discussion so tough. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's taking care of the football. He's getting guys lined up and where they need to be. He's just a solid, steady game manager, right? He is playing well enough that you clearly can't be like, well, he's just terrible and should obviously be benched. But he's also not playing so well that it's quieting all discussion around the potential that J.J. McCarthy has. J.J. McCarthy, on the other hand, is young, inexperienced, but he's a playmaker. And so there's that upside there that makes him very intriguing. And that's sparking a lot of conversation because what limited action he's had so far, he has already displayed that playmaking ability. So, and in some of those situations, I would like to point out that J.J. McCarthy is making those plays against the same defense that Cade Mcnamara is not making those plays against, right? There have been times where J.J. McCarthy's gotten in the game and made some of those deep throws where the opponent still has their number one defense on the field. So it's not like he's coming in and doing this against backups. He's showing he can do this against the other team's number one defense, even though Michigan is playing a lot of backups, right? That's basically their number two squad, and he's still making those throws, those big plays. So that's causing a lot of discussion right now, and I think rightfully so. You know, J.J. McCarthy's not the game manager. He's not been tested. The situations he's come in for extended looks, not just the few plays they use him here and there in the last couple games, but for his extended looks for a whole series and what have you, he has been playing with the advantage of... Sorry, hold on just a second. Sorry about that. He has been playing with the advantage of having the lead, you know, being able to be comfortable, take some chances. And we've never really seen him, you know, start a game and play a whole series or play a whole series where Michigan's tied or even behind. So we don't know how he would respond in those situations. There's just a lot of unknowns still. So that's kind of where each prospect is at. And that's what makes this decision such a difficult one. But it also is what is creating all the discussion because I don't feel like there's a clear-cut, solid answer on either side of this thing. So what do I think? I think J.J. McCarthy should be the guy moving forward. I really do. I'm not just saying that because I'm calling for the backup. And I outlined some reasons why I felt like J.J. McCarthy should be the guy. It's not just because I don't like Cade Mcnamara. I think Cade Mcnamara is a fine quarterback. I think he's a good, solid quarterback. But it's also starting to feel like Cade Mcnamara is holding the offense back. It feels like they can't dive into all the plays they have in their playbook because Cade Mcnamara is not capable of he's simply not athletic enough or capable of doing those plays. So at that point, he starts to feel more like a hindrance, and that's not really a good feeling, especially when you got a talented freshman sitting behind him who's proven he can make some of those big plays. You know, it's I'm stumbling here because it is such a hard decision, and I often go back and forth on it. I'm like, yeah, J.J. McCarthy's got all the upside. He's looked really good so far. He could really open this offense up in ways that Cade McNamara simply can't. He just can't. I'm not trying to take anything away from Cade McNamara. He's just more limited physically than J.J. McCarthy is. That's just how it works out sometimes. That doesn't mean Cade McNamara is not a good quarterback, and that doesn't mean he can't win games. He certainly can, but my goodness, you look at the potential of J.J. McCarthy's arm, and you have to think to yourself, man, they could really blow this offense open with a quarterback of his ability, right? Now, the flip side is that there's risk, and if he starts making mistakes, you know, he's young. If the defenses start to confuse him, there's the risk of turnovers. That's certainly a possibility. So it's not an easy decision. It is very difficult, but I think J.J. McCarthy should be the guy moving forward, and I think now is the time to make that switch. No, I don't think Harbaugh and company will. I really don't think that they're going to go that route, but I think now would be the best time to do it for a couple reasons. First, you're in a bye week. This is a good time to make the change, and you just be honest with Cade McNamara. He's a great leader, and you don't want to lose that, and you need him to be ready in case J.J. McCarthy gets hurt or if J.J. McCarthy starts making mistakes and you decide you need to go back to McNamara. I think the best way to make that happen is to just be honest with him. Just tell him, you know what, we think that J.J. McCarthy can open this offense up a little bit more, so we're going to try him. You know, we think J.J. McCarthy's ready, and we want to see what he's got. You know, just be honest with him, and I think Cade McNamara would appreciate that honesty. Is he going to be happy about it? No, but if he's the great leader that Harbaugh's saying that he is, then, you know, he's going to get back into practice, and he's going to work harder to try to get that spot back. And that's basically, at the end of the day, that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is you lose him, you know, and there is risk there. I understand that. But the potential that J.J. McCarthy has, I think, outweighs the risk. I think now is a good time to do it because you got the bye week, so you got time to get J.J. McCarthy those first-team reps and get him prepared for a full week. And then the second week, you've got Northwestern, which should be an easy game. Michigan, I don't want to, you know, don't count your eggs before they're hatched, but your chickens before they're hatched. But Michigan should be able to run the ball pretty effectively against Northwestern. Northwestern's in a bit of a down year. So I think you could put J.J. McCarthy in and let him get comfortable, let him get used to being the starter, and then the week after that, you got Michigan State. So it's a good time to get him in. You know, get him that game action when he's tied, and he's really got to get out there and make things happen for the offense and take care of the football without throwing him to the wolves. What happens when you get into the Michigan State game and they're crowding the box and they're one-on-one on the outside and the wide receivers are winning that matchup and Cade McNamara can't get the ball to him? What happens? What happens when Cade McNamara continues to struggle on those deep throws and Michigan State just isn't giving you anything else to work with? And the offense isn't moving. Well, they're going to have to go to J.J. McCarthy, and that's a terrible situation to put a freshman quarterback in. You don't want to throw him to the wolves like that. That's why I think now is the time if you're going to make the switch. You make the switch, and I think they should. J.J. McCarthy has shown he can make the deep throw, right? Even with tight coverage, he's getting it into his guys. That's what you want. So far, they've trusted him to throw the football around a little bit, and he's not turning the ball over, so that's always a good thing. He has the ability as a runner, which can really open things up for your offense. It gives you read options. It gives you RPOs. It gives you the ability for a quarterback to make a play even after things start to break down. If he gets pressure in the pocket, he run out of there and make something happen. So he just gives you so much more than Cade McNamara can physically, and that's why I think that they need to make that change now. If you get the deep ball going in this offense with the running game as good as it's been, the tight ends being as good as they are, working the underneath routes, man, it just takes this offense to a whole nother level, and I don't see Cade McNamara making that happen this year. Maybe he develops a deep throw eventually, but you know, if he doesn't have it now, will he ever get it? I don't know. We don't really know the answer to that. But right now, he doesn't have it. And that's really limiting what this offense can do. There were a number of times against Nebraska, they easily left 14 points on the field because Cade McNamara couldn't throw that deep ball. He either overthrew the receiver or underthrew him, even though they were open. So they at least left 14. Cornelius Johnson could have had a touchdown. Dalen Baldwin also could have had a touchdown. There might have even been one to Sainra still. So a good number of points are being left out there on the field, and you can get away with it against Nebraska, who's an up-and-coming team, who's a good team, but they're not one of the best teams in the Big Ten yet. But against ranked opponents that are coming up on your schedule, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, you cannot leave those points on the field. You got to be able to find ways to get those, convert those into points, find a way to get in the end zone. The only way to do that is to play a quarterback that can make those throws. Teams are going to continue to crowd the box. Right now, they have no reason not to. Nebraska crowded the box quite heavily, and the wide receivers were open. They did their job. Cade Mcnamara just could not get them the football. That's a problem. So those are my reasons for why I think J.J. McCarthy should be the guy. I just wanted to expand on that a little bit more. Yes, there's risk. I do understand that risk. Obviously, he's a young quarterback, but I think he is mature beyond his years. And if they're already willing to put him in some of those tough situations, 3rd and short in the red zone, 3rd and goal, and you're putting him in there to try to make a play, you're trusting him in that situation. You put him in the Wisconsin game when the game was still tied. Or close, I don't remember exactly, but it certainly wasn't garbage time, or the game certainly wasn't put away. So they're starting to, if there's that level of trust already, then just pull the freaking trigger and play him already. Clearly there's a level of trust there. I think Josh Gaddis, if it was his decision, he would go with McCarthy at this point because it opens up his entire playbook for him. You wouldn't have to sub in the backup quarterback to try to run read option. It would just be available to you, and you wouldn't have to tip your hand to the defense. So, I understand the concept of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I even said that a couple weeks ago. But we've gotten to the point as things have developed where it starts to feel like Cade McNamara is hindering the offense. He's holding it back in some ways. And for that reason, I think you pull the trigger and you go with J.J. McCarthy and see if he steps up and gets the job done. And if you develop a playmaker in that position, now everything changes for your offense. Everything gets better. Your run game gets better. Your passing game gets better. It opens up everything. And he's got a good offensive line, so J.J. McCarthy shouldn't be pressured a lot, at least not to this point in the season. They're going to be playing tougher opponents, so the quarterbacks are going to start to see more pressure. But so far, the offensive line's playing really well. Michigan's in a position right now where it's really best-case scenario for playing a young quarterback. You got a good offensive line. You got a great run game. There's no reason... you can take a lot of pressure off of a young quarterback with those things. So those are my reasons. Since Michigan had a bye week, I figured I would expand on that a little bit more. It is a topic of discussion, and I don't think there's a clear answer either way you slice it. Both guys have things that are going well for them, and both guys have some risks or some downsides. So it's not an easy decision. But for those reasons, if I was Michigan's coach, I'd pull the trigger and start going to J.J. McCarthy. Worst case scenario, you have to go back to Cade. You admit you messed up, and you go back to Cade McNamara. That's not the worst thing in the world, I don't think. I think this team is mature enough to handle that if it were to come to that in worst case scenario. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit and outline those reasons. So that's going to wrap this one. I'll keep it short and sweet. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think should be the starting quarterback and why? And we'll get a little discussion going. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. So that'll wrap this one. Remember, all love, all the time. Peace.